But now we are jumping into our next series. We're here in the round of 16 of the PiGosaur Monday, and we can embrace some of the now newer maps. I mean, we've been casting this for months now, but here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the blue Zerg player from South Korea representing Gaiman Gladiators. It is SHIN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Root Gaming. It is Creature. From the land of the Americas. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we do embrace our fresh best of 3. Here we go. And again, we're loading into Whispers of Gold. This map is known for its aggression. It's known for its all-ins as well. For those that have maybe not been tuning in to some of these newer maps in the PTR tournaments we've been hosting, the third base. The third base is very exposed. It's very wide open. Both the triangular third and the linear third base as well are very prone to these aggressive builds. Likewise, the rocks. The rocks can be knocked down, and specifically, this does favor move-outs or pushes like a Roach Queen walk across the map. Basically, 2 to 3 base Roach all-ins can be very strong here on Whispers of Gold. So I'm curious to see if SHIN embraces that. Likewise, curious to see if Creature has a plan against that. Here we go. Assuming that comes to pass. As for now, standard opener here by SHIN. Hatchcats pull. Likewise, Creature just going for the gate expand. So far, so good. Also bear in mind as well, I mean, we'll probably be going more in depth into this during the podcast, but it isn't just the PTR that has gone live on the live servers, but additional changes have been made. Specifically, the activation range for the shield battery has increased from 10 to 12, so that is going to allow it to be a little bit more effective. Sorry, I said shield battery. The activation range for the energy overcharge has been increased from 10 to 12. Now in the live version, so that does mean that basically it has longer reach for units that it can actually give energy to for the ability. Likewise, they have removed the Thor change, which I think is a good thing. If you remember, that was one of the most critical changes that we had when it came to going over the new patch and the new patch notes as well. It just didn't make any sense. And likewise, given the feedback that ESL has gotten, even a lot of the Terran players felt like it didn't make any sense either. It was just a really weird change that they tried to push through. But the Thor change has since been reverted. Quickly going over what were some of the other changes that were made. They increased the size of the Ultra again, and they increased the size of the Mothership again. The rationale for that was a little bit different though, not necessarily balance related, but more like power related. Did want to just make them larger once again to kind of signify how much they can impact the game and how powerful they are. So they have the unit sizes have been changed in the most recent update. So now we are going to be settling in. As for now, SHIN is just taking his third base, just happily joining on up and settling in. I'm sitting behind NSC2. I got no idea what the last 8 months has been like. Oh, that's fine. Basically, for the past, I want to say 3 months, most, if not all of our tournaments, I should say, most online events have been held on the PTR to like help when it comes to gathering data for testing and for the upcoming patch. The patch just went live today, and changes have been made, which is always a good thing. Always a good thing. But because of that, a lot of the most recent tournaments have been on maps like this, on Whispers of Gold, on Frostline, on Amygdala, on El Dorado. But it has just now hit the live servers today. Just in time for Home Story Cup. Home Story Cup is over the weekend. So just in time for the next big event in SC2. Do love to see it. As Oracles, they do rotate over, they do hit the third. So far, the Queens are keeping up. So far, no major damage here to the third base. Likewise, Link, they get eyes on the third base as well. So far, Creature is holding. Do have our safety Roach Warren on the way from SHIN. And really, my eyes are going to be on the drone count of SHIN. Does he saturate more than, a 3-base economy? Does he get a 4th base just for larva, or does he commit into a higher form of tech? So my eyes are on SHIN. For now, the Oracles, they have yet to really get much damage or much value here. Interesting. Charge is on the way, not +1 blink, so it's going to be charge instead. Much more committed, much more aggressive here from Creature, going into charge and eventually Archons. This can catch a Zerg player off guard if they skip the Roach Warren, but as we can see, SHIN, he did get it. Did get the safety Roach Warren, so he will have access to Roaches if need be. Against charge ults, he will be. Will need them. As Creatures are still trying to be active, still trying to just clean up some creep and have a presence on the map. Gases are being taken. SHIN, he's joining up to 68. He's getting up to 3-base saturation. +1 range is on the way. And at this point, the question is SHIN going to take up? He does. Okay, he's taking. SHIN is taking to Hydras, which means he's gaining access to, or he will soon gain access to, infestation pits, potentially lurkers, into hive tech. SHIN, he's taking up. He's going to be taking up here. Not going for a committed move out. Meanwhile, Creature back at home, likewise settling into his own build and getting ready for his own push. What I'm referring to is we are just waiting for these upgrades. +1 in charge. There's the Gateway Explosion. Archons are soon to be available, and Creature should soon be moving out with an Archon charge timing. SHIN has yet to drone any further. He's still on 3-base saturation. Is incorporating Hydras, but there we go. Drones are now on the way. SHIN getting ready for a longer game state. Rocks are being knocked down. SHIN just gaining map control, spreading all of his creep. Creature still building up for his push. He's got an Archon, 2 Immortals, additional Immortals are on the way. Getting into more Archon production, of course. He's getting there. Also, another benefit here of the NG overcharge is just how many stasis traps we do have. We've seen just fields of stasis traps throughout the course of the PTR, and we should be seeing that here as well. As SHIN is getting ready for his own move out. He's cut workers at 72. That is, what, 3.5 base saturation. 72 workers building up Ling, Roach, Ravager, Hydra. SHIN just focusing purely on supply, on army supply, and he's about to max out. And there's no Storm. That's my big criticism here. Storm was heavily delayed. Oh, the contamination! Brutal. Contamination on the Storm. Storm will not finish. And without Storm, I mean, how does Creature hold against this? Ay. Again, I'd assume the Creature was going to be the aggressor, but no, he's been slowly expanding, slowly getting a 4th base. The 4th is going to be denied. And Storm is still halfway done. Yeah, SHIN pushing through, knocks down the 4th, and he can just keep going from here. And without any splash damage, I mean, there's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing to hold him back. Rotating over towards the natural. Knocks down the gateway. Can pick up the Archons from here. Yeah, he gets 1, he gets 2. Oh, the Wiles! Oh my god, the Wiles connect. The final Archon goes down. Zealots, they are trickling in, but the Hydras, they stutter step forward. And the Immortals are exposed. Speaking of, is going for them. Gets 1, gets 2, there's 3 Immortals left. Only 3 Immortals, and yeah, he cannot hold from here. Creature is going to be overwhelmed. I mean, we spoke earlier about how difficult it can be to defend your either triangular third or your linear third base. I mean, we see that here. Oof. As we do see SHIN running out of steam a little bit here, but it looks like it's still going to be enough to break the third. GG gets called, and SHIN takes game number 1. GG. SHIN does take a lead in the series. And not bad here, not bad. Again, he was building up towards that kind of 72 worker mass Roach Hydra move out. When it comes to Creature, if you recall, when he chose to go into Charge or Archon, I assumed he was going to be going for an earlier move out, but he didn't. charge finished up, +1 finished up, and instead he was being more passive, more defensive, getting into a 4th base, getting into a mortal, and he did delay his storm, he did delay his splash damage. As a result, by the time he never got into it. He never really got into it in time. So yeah, kind of an interesting build choice there from Creature. Unfortunately, wasn't quite able to really get into his own build and into his own swing of things. And now we're getting into one of the older maps in the map pool once again. This was featured, this was live back in 2017. It is time to go under the sea once again. We are loading into Abyssal Reef. It's been too long, Pappy. Let's go. We're loading into Abyssal Reef. Fun fact, this was the OG map that first featured the ability, I believe first featured the kind of, I say the ability, or kind of the feature of the map where units float. Where units, say, float up to the sky as we are under the sea. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Gammon Gladiators, leading the series 1-0. It is a SHIN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Red Protoss player representing Root Gaming. Down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. It is a Creature. Here we go. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in. SHIN getting his natural. Is going to be taking his natural base here. And again, it's great to be in Abyssal Reef once again. We had this map for so long in the ladder map pool back in the day. We did kind of get sick of it for a while. True. But some of the big features of this map, of course, is a very defendable natural. You can see here a very narrow choke point and ramp coming into the natural base. So defending on 2 bases can be very easy, is what I will say. Going into your 3rd over here, it is a little bit more exposed. The attack path, or the attack kind of arc that you have, is a little bit larger. But in general here, because your natural is so safe and secure, you can just focus your attention here at the 3rd base, and you should be able to defend against aggression as well. The rush distance by ground is relatively long, so we should not be seeing all-ins on this map. Not too many of them, I should say. Can be very difficult to actually make that work and make that happen. Some of the other big features, of course, being the rocks in the center, the cliff faces as well, do make these certain siege lines available to you. And we have seen a lot of late game on Abyssal Reef, where you can cut the map in half. You can set up these siege lines here, either on the cliff face, behind the rocks, looking to cut the map in half. But there are a lot of attack paths. That's the other thing. There's a lot of attack paths. There's a lot of angles here to try to come in and try to surround. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute here since we've been on Abyssal Reef. Let's go. I mean, it's been how many years? 7 years. Over 7 years. Crazy. Since this map was introduced, I should say. Oh my god. As again, this map first came out in January of 2017. So we are moving out. Going to be setting up. We're moving out. So we do have our Stargate opener here out of a Creature. Once again, just Stargate opener. But what I will say is that some of these, it does feel like some of these new old maps that they're introducing do feel more late game oriented. Very much so. Referring to Neon Violet Square and Abyssal Reef. For sure. And I'll be honest, I can't wait to play on them again. It's been far too long. I look forward to it. This Creature does get across the map. We'll threaten the shade towards the main. Shouldn't commit to the shade though. And Queens are keeping up. So far so good. SHIN does defend. Likewise, there's the first Oracle moving out. And if you remember, last game we saw the Creature wasn't really able to get much damage done with his Oracle Harass. He was able to pick off a couple of Lings, maybe get one drone, but nothing too major in Game 1. We'll see if he has a little bit more success here in Game 2. Does go over creep. SHIN is in position. He has 2 Queens in the main. The Oracle dives in regardless, but ooh, takes a lot of hull damage. Yeah, not worth it there for Creature. Takes a lot of hits. From here, he backs off, going for a Forge and a Twilight Council. Now, I would assume that this would be for +1 and Blink, but after what happened in last game, it might be possible here that Creature does prefer charge-based builds instead. So we'll see which one he goes for, either Charge or Blink. Meanwhile, the Oracle did take a lot of damage. We'll meet up with the first. Can move out and can try to hit that mineral line. Here we go. So is that no more Amphion? Craigasm that. You say no more Amphion. I say no more Crimson Court. No more Post Youth. The ladder's gonna become that much more enjoyable, Pappy. Let's go. What I will say though, as much as I'm joking about removing some of those older maps, like as a caster and as a viewer and as a fan, I did love casting. I did of course appreciate and love the previous map pool when it came to some of the playstyles or some of the features of them. Like it was you know, always enjoyable, I should say, to cast. To play, different story. Bappy, to play, I didn't have enough vetoes, okay? I did. I wanted to veto everything, Bappy. But it's different than casting. Different. Know what I'm casting? I just get to watch the players suffer instead of suffering myself. It's beautiful. Kappa. As Shin, he does poke in, does pull away. Looking at his lost tab, has lost a couple of drones here and there. 3 workers have fallen. Interesting. No shot. It's been a while, but I do remember that this is not a bad map for Swarm Host. Infestation Bit gets thrown down. Is Shin willing to embrace Swarm Host play? Now, the reason why I say Swarm Host is because of how many different attack paths there are, how many different cliff faces there are, especially these rocks here as well. And especially here on the right-hand side, I remember many a game with Swarm Host play in this matchup. Okay, is he going to go for it? Hydrogen. Okay, never mind. Hydrogen's on the way. It feels like this Infestation Bit, because of the Hydrogen, this should just be for a Hive. Should just be for a Hive and to get into Hydra Lurker Viper. I would assume. Otherwise, there would be no Hydrogen at this point. It's like this would be like an inefficient setup here. Yeah, we're good. But not gonna lie, this triggered a memory. this triggered a repressed memory. I remember seeing a lot of Swarm Host play on this map. But yeah, as we mentioned, Infestation Bit into Hive. So Hive is on the way, thankfully. Again, Shin taking up, getting towards Viper tech, towards Lurker tech as well. Shin embracing a much longer game state, this time joining up to 80. Remember, last game Shin, he cut workers at 72 and went for a committed move out. This time up to 80 drones and he's teching. So a very different kind of response here by Shin. Meanwhile, we do have Creature moving out. It did once again go for charge into Archons. This time Creature is going for an earlier move out instead of being more defensive back at home. But Lings, they hit the 4th base. It's going to force a cancel. 4th base is going to be cancelled. And Shin, is he ready for this? Again, Shin has been teching. Shin doesn't have much of an army. He's got a handful of Roaches, a handful of Ravagers, but he can make use of this ramp. Nice force field. The drones have to be pulled away. Oh my god. 9 workers going down. The low ground in control here of the Protoss. Hatchery is going to fall. Hatchery does go down. 11 drone kills. But Shin, remember, he's buying time. He's building up an army. Building up more Hydras. Getting to his upgrades. And Creature, he does not push up the ramp. He backs up. Gets a base, gets 11 drones, retreats. Pretty good damage. Pretty good value here by Creature, and now he's taking. Storm is on the way. Fleet Beacon, Stargate, getting into Skytoss. So I do appreciate this patient play here at a Creature. I would like Creature's position if he had a 4th. Remember, the 4th base was cancelled. Like, it was a brutal position, or a brutal moment here, but the 4th base was denied. If it wasn't for that, if he was getting into a 4-base economy, then Creature, he'd be looking so good right now, but he has to rebuild the 4th expansion. He still doesn't have the most ideal economy to actually afford and get into Skytoss, so Shin is still very much so in this. Very much so. Getting to his Lurkers. Lurkers are building up. So it's going down. Lunge Hydras, let's go. Yo, the other change is, one, if you've been watching the PTR, you would know that Lunge Hydras aren't really much of a factor. As you can see here, they're not even researched. Now, I guess we have some time to talk about it. The reason why in the PTR we very rarely saw the Hydra Hive upgrade, I think we saw it twice in like the 3 months of casting the PTR. I think we saw it twice by Dark, and even then we rarely saw it actually used in game. The reason for it is because when you get into Hive tech, by the time you get to this stage of the game, Hydras aren't really what you want. Lurkers are what you want, right? You want a more lurker-based composition. So most of your Hydras are morphing into lurkers, and most of your gas you're spending on the lurker upgrades. As you can see here, SHIN, he doesn't have spare gas. Like SHIN, he's just now building up a kind of a bank here as he's getting to his lurker upgrades. Like the Hydra upgrade, which is the Frenzy, it's not valuable enough here to prioritize over lurker tech. So that's why it's a very rare upgrade, at least currently in the meta. As SHIN does push forward. Oh, so far Storm will zone him back. A couple bars will connect. And now that we're getting to Sky Toss, SHIN, he has to go into Spire Tech. So again, we're transitioning out of Hydra into Spire. So that's kind of like the biggest criticism of the Hydra upgrade, is that the Hydra upgrade just is really, it feels misplaced. Because by the time you get into Hive, you want Lurkers, and by the time your opponent gets into Sky Toss, you don't want Hydras anymore. You want Spire Tech, right? So it's a very odd upgrade. As SHIN is going to be dancing with the army, trading. Ooh. So far trading well, getting on top of the base. The base, ooh, is going to go down. One more volley. Yeah, Nexus falls. Army charges in within lurker range. Oh my god, the lurkers they pop up. They shut down the Zealous. Massive storms on the army. But the vials do connect. And SHIN, even though he's being forced back, he got what he wanted. What did he want? The fourth. The fourth base went down. That's what's important. From here, he has to fall back. Spire is almost done. The ground army did crumble for the most part. Lurkers are morphing in. And then from here, we can get into Corruptor Tech. Oh, at the same time, we do have Creature trying to come in for a run-by. Or drop even. Making his way towards the bases. More lurkers morphing in. The drop does get eyes on the Spire at least. Let's go. Now, I believe the name is it Anabolic Swell? Is it Anabolic? It's something Swell. It's a wild upgrade name, is what I will say. Anabolic Swell? It's like no, it's like nanomuscular. That's it. It's nanomuscular swell. It's crazy. It's a really weird name, but sure. We're swelling up, Pappy. We're swelling up. Oh no. PiGosaur Swell. It's actually just a wild name. Like why do they call it that? Just call it like Lunge. That's all we needed. Why are we swelling up? As we do see SHIN pushing to the center. I mean, hey, he's getting into his Corruptor Tech, but he might not need it. Might not need it at this point. What does Creature have? He's coming in from behind. Into Lurkify. Oh my god. The High Temple has to be so careful here. Pushing into Lurkers. Four of them get quite low. Not enough Lurkers in position. They're a little bit further up. Hydra's getting picked off by the carrier. But here we go, 14 Corruptors on the way. Let's go. But like, again, this is what I mean. Like, we just researched the. Wait, can we swell it up, Pappy? Get out of here. But as the swell upgrade finishes, I mean, we're done with Hydras. We're getting into Corruptor. Like it's like now is not the time for Hydras. So yeah, again, just a really odd upgrade. But regardless, SHIN is transitioning out. Again, morphing in all its Hydras into Lurkers. Getting into Corruptor Tech. But Creature did hold on to the fourth. Held on to the fourth base. Has decent economy. He's building up. So who is Creature? New player. Creature is an old school player. So Creature, he was more active back in like 2016, 2017. Like I mean, I say that creature. He's an active NA player, especially more back in the day, in earlier years of Legacy of the Void. Did retire and did go on hiatus for a couple of years, and did relatively recently come back to the game. I want to say around the start of the year, maybe like mid 2023-ish, like creature started being active again. So yeah, it's really cool to see him come back to the game, and on top of that, he's also being more active because he is actually going to be competing in a couple of weeks in Cheeseadelphia. Cheeseadelphia is an offline event in the Americas, and creature will be a part of that. Is putting in the work, is of course practicing, getting ready for the LAN event in the Americas. So good to have him back. Good to have him back. Yeah, as is being stated here, started around 2013, 2014. Yeah. He's not new, not good enough. No, he's he retired. He retired for a long time. He retired, then he came back recently. But good to have him back. As for now, we do have our Spire on the way, getting into a greater Spire. Shin taking up towards Broodlord tech. And we are entering the late game. Let's go. We have Skytoss against soon-to-be Broodlord Infestor, or Corruptor Broodlord Infestor, with Lurkers. All the tech, all the spellcasters, all the Spellcrawlers on the way. I mean, now the creature's been able to establish his 4th base, now we can get a 5th base. Taking a 6th expansion from here is going to be difficult, I will say that. But your 5 base setup here is very fortifiable. Again, thanks to some of the terrain of the map. And the positioning of the bases themselves. Oh, here come the Yoinks! Oh! Yoink comes in, 1 carrier goes down. Oh, not quite! There we go, 1 carrier falls, but we do get a feedback on the Viper. Another Yoink! Another carrier! Good PiGosaur here by SHIN. Very nicely done. Meanwhile, creature building up. Oh, I'm a little bit concerned that he's making too many carriers. Carriers, they can do well for themselves, but ideally you do want to leave some room to support, or for supportive army, like High Templar, Archons, Tempest as well. The late game death bull of an army that is Skytoss, it does require a little bit of finesse when it comes to the army composition itself. He's up to how many carriers? 8. Soon to be 11. 11 carriers. Only 3 Archons. 3 Archons might be enough. I'd be a little bit more comfortable with 4 Archons, but you know, maybe 3 Archons is going to be enough here. How many Tempest? 4 Tempest. As Bailings, they waddle in. No bailing speed, but they're waddling. Oh no! Okay, creature does react in time. Does pull away. Does pull away. 5 probes so far. But yeah, the low Archon count is a little bit concerning to me, as we're getting to more carrier. Of course, where there are less Archons, there are more High Templar. I mean, that's a lot of Storm. Like, let's be honest here. That's Jesus. That's 8 High Templar with plenty of Storms. So it feels like creature, he's more reliant on that. He's more reliant to zone with his Storms instead. So here we go. He does push in. He's moving forward, trying to collapse on the army. Yoink's going up. Viper goes down. Does get the power bomb on the mothership. Ooh, that's going to be a lot of shield damage here to the carriers. It should mainly just be shield damage though. Yeah. Does only do whole damage to one of the Tempest. That is something that's a creature he can afford to take. As we have Broodlords on the way. This is where the Tempest count needs to be higher. So typically the dynamic that this kind of plays out in here is that the Broodlords, their goal is to get on top of the High Templar. Is to get Broodling shots off and get on top of the High Templar and pick them off. The role of the Tempest is going to be to zone the Broodlords away. Like, the Tempest are what you want to zone. And if you don't have enough Tempest, then there's not going to be as much of a deterrent for the Broodlords. Because if the High Templar go down, then the High Templar and the Archons go down, then the Corruptors have free reign. So, like, each kind of unit here has its own role to play. When it's up against this army. And a lot of this for creature is just protecting the High Templar. Keeping them safe. As he's getting up to 12 carriers, he's maxed. Likewise, Shin building up more NG. He's got a good mix of Broodlord, Corruptor, Lurker, Viper, Infester. It's quite a lot to control. It is quite a lot here to bring together. And I will say that Shin has a lot of potential with this army, if controlled well. Likewise, he's pushing forward with the Spore Force as well to give him more support. Lurkers are moving forward. More Broodlords on the way, and they can chip away at this army. Or at this wall. Creature, he has to respond. How many Tempest? He's on, still on 4 Tempest. Gets a Revelation. Creature moving in. Tempest shots going up. Couple of Lurkers do go down. Not a bad start to the fight. At the same time, oh, going for the recall. He's crazy. Up. Recall finishes. Recall does complete. Parabombs here on the carriers. Army moves in. Lurkers out of position. Broodlord's out of position. The Parabomb does some damage, but the bases are going to go down. They get massive recall. And without these Broodlords, the Corruptors, they cannot engage. The Broodlords, they have to come back home. The Spores are repositioning. Bases are going down. Mothership's being rebuilt. Remember, a creature, he can always recall back home. He has a second recall. Spores are trying to go up the ramp. Emphasis on trying. So far, good trades here from creature. Infestor's coming in. Shinny's on the hunt. I feel like we have to recall at this point. Creature is deep on creep. Oof. Get some mothership. The feedbacks. Neural into feedback. He has to get out of here. He has to get out. Oh my god. Corruptor tried to have in. Archons are holding strong. Yeah, mass neural here on the carrier. 4 carriers going down. There's a recall. Creature gets the hell out of here, but not before losing 4 carriers. Whew. Does recall away. And he is rebuilding his Tempest, thankfully. Getting back into Tempest production. Meanwhile, creature, he held onto his bases. But Shin is pushing in. Shin keeps going. He still has an army to work with. And creature's not ready for this. Creature needs more time. But I love the neural into feedback. That was so good. From Shin. Sharking around with those infestors. Broodlords, they take down the most important mining base here. Once again, the neural up. He feedbacks. Oh, he tries to feedback at least. Doesn't quite get the High Templar. Broodlords are exposed. Corruptors, they dive in. Yeah, they collapse on the army. Oh, storms are going up. Carriers are going down. The neurals. Oh my god. Barely a neural here on the carrier. And the Skytos army crumbles. Yeah, just barely, not enough on the ground. Tempest full carrier as well. Plenty of Corruptors left over. And they can always morph into Broodlords. As they take down the final Tempest. From here he gets out. I'm loving the Changeling wall as well. Trying to look down the army. Broodlords, they take down the base. Nexus falls. GG gets called, and Shin will take the game 2-0. We'll take the series 2-0 and advance on to the next round. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. A very intense couple of minutes there, a couple of moments towards the end of the game. Again, I love the recall from creature, recalling across the map, killing 2 bases, and actually trading very well against the Spores and the Infestors. But I do think it took a little bit too long to recall back home. If you remember, he lost 4 carriers before he recalled. He lost 4 carriers. He also lost a couple of High Templar as well, so it did look like he stuck around a little bit too long before recalling, bled out too much, and then immediately Shin counterattacked. Shin just counterattacked, made sure he was able to strike before creature recovered from those losses. And GG. GG, well played. Creature just barely was not ready for that, and Shin does advance on. SHIN advances on into the next round where he has his next opponent. And let's find out who that is. Whew. Let's go. But again, shout out to Creature for holding his own and for bringing it to the late game against SHIN. Very nice. And again, best of luck to Creature in the upcoming Cheeseadelphia, as it is going to be right around the corner. Best of luck as we catch up on the bracket. And for the most part, it looks like we're getting into the quarterfinals. Okay, from the very bottom here, we have Creator. Creator takes down Homeowner 2-1, went all the way to the ace match, but Creator is up against SHIN in the quarterfinals. Heading on over, we have Geralt. Geralt takes down Nice 2-0. Björn takes down Mute 2-0, and we have Björn versus Geralt in the other quarterfinals match. Scrolling up a little bit further here, we have Trap. Trap takes down Pig 2-0. Rebellion? Wait. Hold up. Wait, what just happened? Ah, I see. Never mind. I was in shock seeing Rebellion's name. Solar didn't show. Solar did not compete. Rebellion, he gets a walkover over Solar. Rebellion advanced on to face off against Trap in the next round. My condolences here. I was really looking forward to seeing Solar versus Trap, but I guess we're lucky that we weren't in the upper half of the bracket to try to catch that. Oh. Yeah, I guess we were a little bit fortunate there. But Rebellion versus Trap is about to get underway. That's going to be a PvP, and then we have the upper matches underway. We have Wayne waiting for the winner of Max Pax and Bomioja. So the upper half of the bracket is a little bit delayed. We are focusing on the lower half of the bracket. You know what's up next? SHIN versus Creator. Here we go. Here we go as we are getting into our next series. The vetoes are underway. And let's get this set up. Sorry, just setting up here. So it's going to be another ZvP. Vita's on the way, so we're going to be going on a short break. We should be going on a short break here, just catching up. Did SHIN be Creator? Creature. SHIN to a Creature. SHIN. There we go. Looks like Pig is maybe looking for a series. He might be joining us. Pig might be joining us here as we are setting up. Just catching up in the chat. The creature was awakened by the new patch. True. But yeah, until then, we're going to be going on that short break. When we come back, we will have our next series. We'll have the quarterfinals, and we'll be following that into the lower semifinals. That is the plan. See you guys after the break. Take care. See you soon.